Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of The Surfer's Journey. Today's episode is all about analysing the pop-ups from some of the best surfers in Hawaii. And now I'm going to break it down and analyse it so that we can see how they pop up so that you can do the same thing. And guys, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe now so you can stay up to date with all of my latest videos and tutorials. And remember, you can also follow us on Instagram at The Surfer's Journey. But for now, let's get into today's lesson of the week. Hawaii is home to some of the best waves and some of the best surfers in the world, so there was no better place to go to check out some of these surfers' pop-ups to see what we could learn and then bring it back to apply to our own pop-ups. After breaking down some of those pop-ups over in Hawaii, I wanted to bring those lessons learnt back to average waves that we all surf every day. And the biggest lesson that I learnt was that despite their incredible ability once they're up and riding, a pop-up is really the same for everyone regardless of the wave type and that surfer's ability once they're actually up and riding. To demonstrate what I mean, let's compare a takeoff from one of the surfers in Hawaii to one of my takeoffs here. As you can see here, we both stop paddling once we know the wave's actually picked us up and is pushing us along. At this stage, our hands are underneath our chest and we've both got that big chest rise. This creates room for our legs to come through. You can see that as you take off, your board drops underneath you and this helps create that room. You can see that our hands are still on the board as our feet connect. Our feet have come through in one clean motion, not going to our knees and then taking off. Once our feet hit the deck, our hands come up, and this happens instinctively and it happens quickly. Now what comes after that takeoff is totally up to you and totally dependent on your individual skill level. But a successful pop-up is the same for the best surfers in Hawaii to a surfer who's out in everyday sloppy conditions. It doesn't matter. An effective pop-up is one that gets you straight to your feet in one clean movement. So what can you do to improve your pop-up and make it clean, fast and effective? The first thing starts with paddling. Have to paddle in hard and fast. And once the waves actually picked you up, that's when you stop paddling. You place your hands underneath your chest, get that big chest lift, and then explosively pop up. It's like a burpee, but on a surfboard. You can see here that my feet land together. I went from my thighs straight to my feet. And when our feet hit the deck of the board, we want our feet to be centered in that board. Use the stringer down the middle of the board as a guide for your feet. And from this point here, you're in control and you're ready to go. Where a lot of surfers go wrong is that they might do a 2-stage or even a 3-stage pop-up, where they go to their knees and then drag their feet through before they stand up. Now this is okay in those early stages, but as you progress and you start to take off and ride along a wave, you'll find that this slow 2 or 3-stage pop-up is going to cause you a lot of issues. An example of this would be if this surfer here in Hawaii had a 2 or 3-stage pop-up. Now when the waves are bigger and more critical, there's going to be more price to pay. That slow takeoff, if it was a 2 or 3 stage, meant that this surfer would certainly fall and end up over the falls. But having that clean pop-up where he goes from chest to feet and allowed him to successfully complete that takeoff and ride that wave. A fast and effective pop-up sets you up to surf a wave to the best of your ability. It allows you to position yourself from the very beginning, whether you need to generate speed and get down the line, or if you can set yourself up for a big bottom turn and then surf that wave top to bottom. It always depends on the wave that you're on, but by nailing your pop-up, you're going to be ready to go for whatever comes. There are a few other lessons that we can learn from these surfers in Hawaii. The basics of turning your surfboard. Look, leaning, and pointing. You can see here that this surfer generates that move by looking and pointing. That's how we initiate that change of direction. You lean, you look, you rotate, you point with that front arm, and that's going to help you initiate that change. It's the same when you're on a smaller wave. There are other basic skills that surfers need to master. Situations like this where you want to make a last-minute decision to turn, paddle, and catch a wave. We also need to learn how to use compression and extension when we're surfing. We need to know when to compress and when to extend when we're trying to turn our surfboard. A surfer will generally compress as they enter that maneuver and they start that leaning phase. And as they start to come out of that maneuver, they start to extend their body. And then they compress to finish that maneuver. Of course, it depends on the maneuver that you're actually performing and the kind of wave that you're surfing. But these are some basic principles that you guys can start to practice.
Guys, thanks for watching the video today. I hope that breaking down the pop-up and watching some of the best surfers in the world do it is going to help you make your pop-up that much better. Once you master the pop-up, everything else becomes so much easier. You can stop focusing on the pop-up and start focusing on what comes next. Remember to like the video and comment below to let me know what other videos you'd like to see. Thanks guys, I'll catch you in the water.
The Surfer's Journey now has a range of apparel available, from beanies to t-shirts to hats and coffee cups. For more information on how you can place your order, email thesurfersjourney@gmail.com. Be sure to visit The Surfer's Journey and check out some of our other videos, surfing tutorials from point of view, from the air and from the beach, and detailed, honest board reviews. You can also follow us on Instagram where we post hints and tips.